Hello, everyone. Welcome to Power Hour. Today's topic is Microsoft Ignite 2024. It's in the middle of the conference right now. It just started yesterday in Chicago. It's live streaming. We're going to go over some really cool, interesting announcements that they've been making. So you can pause your watching Ignite from home and come watch Power Hour and talk about Ignite with us. And let's do the stinger. All right, so Power Hour is a show that we do Wednesdays at 11 Central. I'm Laura Rogers. This is Joelle Jobson. And we are going to talk about all the exciting announcements that Microsoft has been making at Ignite. When Satya Nadella did the big keynote session yesterday, it was about 3 hours long, and he highlighted a whole bunch of new announcements. And he went over kind of very high level all the different things. And then the way it works is that, it's kind of a teaser. He talks about all these different technologies at a fairly high level. And then you go to all the breakout sessions to learn all the details and dig in. So today, there are going to be some really good SharePoint sessions. If you are chatting with us, I send out a newsletter the day before to get everybody vote for the topic. So you all voted for this. We have a chat going on in Microsoft Teams. And this is where we have discussions and ask questions. It's a lot of fun. And in Teams, I also put some notes for you all to be able to read with a lot of links. Now, so what I did this morning was I gave Copilot the hyperlink to Microsoft's Book of News, which is just this huge, big, long web page document that it lists every single announcement. And it's probably it could be 30 pages long. I'm not sure. It could be 70 pages. It's a big document. So I said, hey, Copilot, look at this and summarize the key announcements for me, keeping in mind my audience of power users who are not developers, not admins, just kind of focus on that, because that's the typical audience that we get. So I put in the chat, I put some notes, and I just copied and pasted what Copilot generated, and I put it in the chat. And I asked it to include reference links. There are a few reference links that it had found that were not accurate. They were older things. So I kind of went through and made sure everything was kind of the newer announcements in there. But it's a really good recap. So what we're going to be doing today is we'll be just kind of going through and discussing and talking about how exciting all these announcements are and these new technologies and kind of what they are and what we'll be able to do with them, and look forward to once some of these things start rolling out in our tenant, what we'll be able to accomplish and how these things are going to impact us in our daily lives. So a lot of it is about Copilot. So it's Copilot, Copilot, Copilot. Everything is about AI. So it helps to have Copilot to be able to go in and try all these. And if you don't have Copilot, they're going to make you wish you had it. We have Copilot at IW Mentor. And so like I just mentioned, I used it to create this summary. So it's very powerful. So I think that the key, just in general, when you think about Copilot and AI and how it applies to you, it's just kind of a different way of thinking. So instead of just kind of doing whatever you do during the day at work, just all the tasks, all the emails, things that you're doing, meetings, for each thing that you're doing, kind of think about it as, is there a more efficient way to do this? So for example, they have Teams, Copilot can recap meetings. Copilot can help you prepare for a meeting. Copilot can write emails for you. So it's starting with basic things like that, and then kind of letting your mind expand as far as like making a lot more things more efficient. So there's some things that they've announced that, like this concept of Copilot actions, that is going to really kind of make you think and make you, think about scenarios that you can use some of these technologies. So let's go ahead and I'll share my desktop, and we'll kind of get into we're really just looking through the announcements. So most of the things they've announced, I don't have them in my tenant yet. So they're not things that I can do demos of, but these are definitely things that we'll have to vote on at future Power Hours. So you all make sure that you're subscribed to the newsletter, and so you can let me know what you think when it's time to vote. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, so here is, let's look at, first of all, let's look at Teams, because Teams is where we're chatting about this. So this is our current chat that's going on. This is our today's Power Hour, where you can click to watch it here and chat on the side. The YouTube tabs in Teams have been behaving a little weird, so it kind of put a bunch of duplicates on the screen, but this is today's Power Hour, the Microsoft Ignited announcements. Now, then what I do is for each Power Hour, we have notes. So I'll just put a couple of reference links usually in here, but they're sometimes they're very short. That was last time. Well, this time I used Copilot again to generate like a summary. And I said, I'm doing Power Hour. We're talking about the Ignite 2024 announcements. Here's who my audience is. Give me an outline for the show. So this is, and I just basically copied and pasted it right here into the chat. So here's our outline. And I'm not going to read this or anything, but it gives us a good summary. So when I asked Copilot for an outline, I asked it for these reference links. So the first thing I want to talk about, and that the reason I want to talk about it first is because it seems to be most relevant to this particular audience. What we talk about a lot in Power Hour is automating business processes, building apps with Power Apps, automating with Power Automate, and in general, making business processes and your life more efficient using all these Microsoft 365 technologies. So that is why I was very intrigued by Copilot Actions. So this is everything I'm looking at. A lot of the links just reference this blog post right here. So this says introducing Copilot Actions, new agents and tools to empower IT teams. And it's got kind of links to all these. So Copilot Actions is here. So here's what it is. And I don't have it yet. Again, I can't demo this yet, but it kind of looks like, have you ever created a rule in SharePoint? It kind of looks like the little SharePoint rules interface where you say, if this happens and you pick a drop down, then do this, and you pick a drop down and then also do this. It's kind of like a easy wizard for kind of like creating a rule, almost like creating an Outlook rule, that kind of concept. It's kind of like also creating a flow, but flows are much more complex. So this is like a really easy, very intuitive, very kind of easy user experience for creating an automation sort of like a flow. So here's what it looks like. So it just says, summarize my emails related to employee benefits in the last week. And so this is kind of one of the concepts of what you'll be able to do in here. Now it's going to come with a whole bunch of templates and give you ideas, but you'll be able to create your own. Now here's the difference. When we're creating a flow in Power Automate, we know exactly what we need it to accomplish. We have to point it to specific data sources. We have to give it a specific trigger and say, here's where my SharePoint list is. Go to this specific field and then send an email, and you have to define everything in the email. Well, this uses AI. So this is not going to require you to configure every little tiny detail. It's just going to use Copilot to do something like summarize my emails, summarize a meeting, create a summary of, some PowerPoint presentation that someone presented in a meeting. So it's the concepts of what you're accomplishing. It's the same idea of kind of like a workflow, and the logic is like a workflow, but it has AI in it, and it's going to do more kind of, it's going to be much more intuitive than it would be to build a flow to do something very specific. Does that make sense? So I'm kind of interested in what you all think in the chat. Let me see, is anything interesting? Anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah. Everything is AI Copilot. Okay, well, raise your hand or make a comment in the chat if you already do have Copilot at work. And also, again, I keep harping on this, but it's going to be a matter of not just having Copilot, but remembering to use it. and just knowing how helpful it can be. So Copilot's been helping, we're a small company, right, Joelle? We're just a few of us. And so I think that Copilot's really helpful for small businesses, maybe even more than big businesses, because of all the things that we need to be able to do. Like, I have many roles. I'm doing marketing emails, I'm creating training, I'm doing all these things. So we have many different things that we do in a small company. And so Copilot's very helpful to be able to just, generate content or do kind of rote tasks for us. Let's see. So any questions about Copilot Actions? I feel like once you start trying it, it's going to be, all right, so what do I use a Copilot action for, as opposed to what do I use a flow for? So it's going to be an interesting way of kind of a new way of thinking about things that you want to automate. And it seems like it's really more around personal productivity. So, all right, we'll move on to the next topic. Okay, so Copilot Actions was the first one. Copilot pages are already out there. They've been out. It was one of those things I put in the voting topics a couple of times for Power Hour. It just wasn't something you all voted on. But Copilot pages is out there. It's in our Copilot for Power Users training course on our website at iwmentor.com. So Copilot pages is already in our training. But what they're announcing, the big new announcements, are improvements to Copilot pages. So you're going to have the ability to include more rich context like charts and graphs, visual content, images, and it says Copilot and PowerPoint can translate entire presentations too, so into 40 different languages. So that's extremely cool. Maybe potentially we'll be able to do that with our training courses and just have Copilot create, translations for everything automatically for us or something like that. So that would be, for a small company, that would be a huge feat, and that would be extremely helpful. There also, I noticed that one of the small things that they mentioned was that they're going to be eventually changing the Microsoft 365 logo to be the Copilot logo. So Microsoft 365, they really want it to be all about Copilot, so they're even changing the logo. And another small thing I heard is that they're going to Outlook is going to have new themes now, like color themes, and you can change like the entire way Outlook looks. So let's see. Copilot is the UI for AI. So that's one of the big kind of themes that they've said in several of these presentations, that Copilot is the UI for AI. So UI means user interface. So that's how Copilot is your user interface to interact with AI. Now we love SharePoint, right? Does everybody love SharePoint? So this is a big SharePoint announcement. Now, this is not in my tenant yet, or any of my tenants, the agents in SharePoint. So each SharePoint site is going to have its own agent. So in the past, when you had to go do a search and go look for some particular content or go find something specific and then go read a file, well, Copilot on your SharePoint site is going to be able to just know all of that data and then respond to you in natural language. So you can have a conversation with Copilot about what you're looking for on that site. So if you have like a company policy website, SharePoint site, where you have just uploaded all of your company policies and they're in a document library or two, then usually when somebody needs to find, like I need to go find the dress code policy, I would just go to the search box and go type dress code and then open the document about the dress code policy and then read through the document. Well, instead of having to do that, you'll be able to talk with an agent. So you'll be able to talk to the agent on that SharePoint site to say, hey, can you tell me all about the dress code policy? Is it okay to wear sneakers to work? And it literally will just answer you in natural language and you having a conversation with it instead of you having to go do all that drilling down and reading things. So what do y'all think about that? Is that super cool? Yeah, so you're talking about some security concerns too. They did make a bunch of security announcements. One of the announcements too that we'll talk about, Bruce, is going to be that they're going to have a Copilot control center and Copilot analytics. So, for those of us, I have a background in IT administration. IT admins like to have control and know who has access to what and be able to, have really good grasp of that and put some very good restrictions on it. Well, they make it sound like the Copilot Control Center is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's just specific to the Power Platform. I think it's for everything. It's going to be like an admin center for you as an IT admin to know what's going on in Copilot in your organizations. Yeah. Joelle says, as long as the site owners keep the content up to date. Yeah, that's true. So not only do the site owners, need to keep the content up to date, but site owners are still also responsible for permissions. So you're not going to be able to find things in Copilot that you don't have permissions to, like when you're chatting with Copilot asking about files in your company. Just like search, it's not going to present you things that you don't have permission to, but that goes back to that site owner training that we've been talking about for years. And so when you own a SharePoint site, it's your responsibility to make sure that people aren't sharing all the files with everyone in the company and just kind of sharing things willy-nilly. And you have a tight grasp of who can access what on that SharePoint site that you own, because those are the permissions. Whatever permissions you give it, that's what, Copilot will apply those when it's sharing with people. So it's a good point. Keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. So agents in SharePoint, and it's got a video where you can see the example about that. Let's see, what was I? Okay. I'm not sure what, are you asking about this tab up here? So yeah, this thing crashes like almost every time. I'm not sure in Teams. It doesn't crash in the web, but this little tab for today is, now I created this playlist tab if you're asking about that, so you can click open and chat with us there. So, but that's where our chat is. Yeah, Teams is just being weird. I think, they've been pushing out a bunch of updates, so. All right, so another thing that we're going to talk about is, let's see, that this is what I've I called it the Copilot Control Center. It's a Copilot control system, and that is for IT to confidently adopt and accelerate the business value of Copilot and agents. So so it's got data protection. This is kind of what you were asking about. Management controls, which we love to have as IT admins. And then it's going to have measurement and reporting and this new product, Copilot Analytics. So that's another one of the big new announcements. So Copilot Analytics, I think I already had that tab open. Yeah. Copilot Analytics is going to measure the AI impact on your business. So once you roll out Copilot and you kind of encourage all the business users to start using it, this is where you can really assess and understand what the adoption is in your organization. So, and then once you understand it, then it's going to be a matter of really getting that messaging out to make sure that end users are aware of what Copilot can do to help them and to make their jobs more efficient. So some of that might require a little hand holding, like kind of down the management chain of helping people make their jobs more efficient. And there might be some resistance too, because, if somebody comes to work and they spend, 3 hours on this certain Excel spreadsheet every day, and that's like most of their job, and they might not like the fact that now they can just ask, tell Copilot to do such and such, and it just does it. And then it saves them a few hours, but then they're like, okay, now what I do? So you might have some resistance to people that think that the AI is going to put their job in jeopardy. So hopefully people will understand that you'll be able to get more done if you have it helping you. That's my opinion. All right, so Copilot Analytics, Copilot Control System, it goes into detail about how you can measure business impact, business metrics when you're, when you've rolled out Copilot. So let's see, I'm just kind of switching back and forth. Then there are a bunch of Windows announcements. I'm not going to go too deep into the Windows stuff, but this Windows 365 link is pretty cool. It's a cloud PC device, kind of like a dumb terminal, basically, that takes you straight to the cloud. So it's not storing any data on the device. So it's like a computer that you use, but you're directly working in the cloud, and you're not, there's nothing that exists on that device. So if you lost it or it got stolen, nobody's going to be able to steal your data. Let's go to some more announcements. Let's see if I have any questions. I can't tell. Let's see, I'll go back to this. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So I'm glad you like that. Cool. All right. That is, so agents in SharePoint, this is kind of what I touched on. It's going to let you directly interact with an agent on each SharePoint site. And so it's giving you some good scenarios. So I love the way Microsoft gives a lot of examples with all these products, because that's one of those things that people love to have. They love to have templates. They love to have examples. They love to have prompt ideas. So these are some great ideas that it gives you of how you'll be able to use this in your organization, like onboarding and product support, budget planning. So it's telling you specifically what you'd be able to use to implement this. So when you're on your SharePoint site, it's just going to have I'm in a library right here, and it says create an agent. And then that's how you can create the agent. And when you create an agent in SharePoint, the agent is a file. So I think the file is like a .agent or something like that. So it's actually, the agent itself is a file on your SharePoint site. And then build, share, and collaborate in Teams. And again, here's the thing about, there we go. .agent file. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. .agent file format. And then once you create an agent, then you'll be able to take the agents farther with Copilot Studio. So there are some very simple things you'll be able to do when you create agents, just like you can do right now in Copilot. There's a create an agent button, and I teach that in our online Copilot for Power Users course. So it has a very simple interface to create an agent just without even having to go to Copilot Studio. But once you create one, you'll be able to take it farther and get more detailed and more advanced when you go to Copilot Studio to work on it. Copilot license with an option as pay-as-you-go meter. That will be good. So everybody's going to be able to do these. They're not going to be complicated. So before it was called Copilot Studio and it was called Power Virtual Agents, it was kind of complicated. So when you're creating Power Virtual Agents, you had to go through a lot of steps. You had to create all these custom topics. You had to know kind of a lot of details and settings, and really kind of get your head around how the product works and get familiar with it. And it was a lot of work to create these. But now that they're agents, and it's Copilot and they're Copilot agents, not Power Virtual Agents, it is a lot easier and a lot more approachable. So we, the business users and power users, are going to be able to do these very quickly and easily. So I highly recommend going to, let's see, which one of these is, this one. This is exactly this topic I was just talking about. This is going to be today at 2:30 Central. And it's Jeff Teeper, Adam Harmitz, and I co-presented with him one time at Ignite. He's really nice. And, Jeff Teeper's like over all of SharePoint. And so, y'all can just go to this. It's free online. Just go check this out. And I cannot wait to see this one. So that's the one that's going to have all the details and demos of the thing that we're talking about right now. Like I keep having to zoom in. Okay. So that's agents in SharePoint. And then I think this is the same. Is this the same thing? New agents in Microsoft 365. So these are going to be the ones that that you can build just within Teams. And you can still point to SharePoint. You can point to a library. You can point to a file. But the ones that you create in Teams or in Copilot Studio are different than the new thing that's going to come out with the agents in SharePoint. And that's going to be presented to you on the actual SharePoint site. So that's kind of a slight difference. All right. I'm kind of curious as we talk about all this. Are you all getting ideas? Are you all thinking about ways that your company can be more efficient, or ways that just, like if you had Copilot actions, ways that your job can be more efficient? And does it, I mean, it seems like it's very exciting to be able to implement some of this. Now I've been talking about sort of the small company type things that you can do. The bigger companies, some of the announcements that they've made around like Dynamics 365 and having agents, think about, your CRM for your company and having agents be able to be integrated in everything that you do around customers and customer management, sales, and having those agents be able to do so many automated things like follow up with customers, etc. So they did announce there are a lot of those pre-built agents that are going to be applicable to Dynamics 365 as well for those bigger companies that have big help desks or big sales teams, and just to streamline those as well. Another thing that they've announced is this translator agent, so it can replicate your voice in Teams. So if you are in a meeting and you're talking to, like if I'm speaking with someone in Teams that speaks another language, I can just talk in English and it looks to them in the meeting like I'm speaking in Spanish. So they did a demo of that in the keynote. That was very cool. So that's going to be really interesting to try. Awesome. Let's see. Copilot Studio is going to soon include images and voice content. So we've done, even just in the last couple of power hours, we've talked about Copilot agents. And we built a couple. We built one that goes to our IW Mentor training site, and you can ask it questions about our training. And we did like an employee onboarding agent. So within these, we'll be able to include images and voice content as well. So you'll be able to just talk to the agents. What else? That one. I don't know. I feel like I should just cut the power hour kind of short today because we have Ignite going on right now. So since Ignite is going on right now, and I kind of want to encourage you all to go watch those sessions online, I think that was a good just synopsis of the main big announcements that I think are interesting for the business user, power user audience. There's probably something I'm forgetting, but check out all those links that I put in the notes, and check out all the little demo videos, even if you don't go, watch the sessions. And also when you use the session scheduler to build your Ignite schedule, you can share that. There's a little share button on it. So I shared my schedule, and it is also in the notes there if you want to go see what sessions that I'm going to be watching that I signed up for. So, all right. We'll go ahead and wrap it up and let you all have back another half hour. And you can always check out iwmentor.com. Just click the schedule button at the top to find the next power hour. And also we're having a huge Cyber Monday sale, 40% off of our yearly training plans that are usually $650 and $800. So 40% off of those. And that sale lasts from December 2nd to December 6th. And also I'm going to be in Stockholm at ESPC and that same time frame, December 1st through 5th or so. So if you are going to be at ESPC, come say hi. And everybody have a good afternoon. Over and out.